say that in tourism we are very much in support of the measures being undertaken by the Ministry of Health in terms of the containment of the disease, in terms of the management of it, in terms of the advice given to persons about the disease. But I think what is very, very important that we should take away from this morning, if we take away nothing, is the fact that we must get the communication from the correct channels. There's too much fake information out there, and it's affecting persons in terms of them being in fear of this disease. The second thing I would like to reiterate is the fact that, as I'm advised at the moment, we have no cases in St. Kitts and Nevis. And as a follow-on from that, you would also recognize that we can only import any case. And so I want to commend the Customs and Immigration, because it is the first point of contact, which is very, very, very important. And as a follow-on from that, and as a corollary to that, it means that we have to be very vigilant in terms of our air and our seaports. And so to segue from that, I will say this. The meeting yesterday that we had, which was the heads of government meetings, I think some 6 hours of it. I think the important thing about that meeting was that we have agreed basically to some minimum standards in terms of the coronavirus, minimum standards. But you must also appreciate that as we are a sovereign state, we can impose our own particular measures, because the safety of our citizens is paramount, and that comes first. And so, for example, you may have heard that there was a particular cruise vessel that was denied entry into St. Kitts and Nevis, not because there was any issue of coronavirus on board, but there were other issues. And we, as a small country, between the customs, immigration, health, and tourism, we decided it was better for them to move on than to come here. And so that's what we did, in the interest of the safety of our citizens. As I'm advised, there was one individual who came via the airport. That person they came from an area of suspect, let me put it that way. Not that they had any issues, but that they came from an area of suspect. And that person, if I have my issue correct, they were quarantined or isolated? Which one? Quarantined. So I have to get it right too, the jargon. So they were quarantined, and they were tested, and they were tested negative. So as of today, there are no issues in St. Kitts and Nevis. But you know, this disease is a fast-moving, fast-paced disease, and so it is critical for us to be concerned about it, to take all the necessary measures and precautions that we can, and of course to be very vigilant about this disease. It's vigilance we need. This is so important for St. Kitts and Nevis because it impacts tourism in a more significant way. It impacts the GDP in a more significant way. And that is why yesterday we had all the major players of the cruise lines at the table yesterday, because they understand that the Caribbean is their #1 source market. And so they have to protect the Caribbean also. We have to protect ourselves, but they understand that as part of their own development and economic development, that they have to protect the region. And so I believe yesterday's meeting was critical in the sense that we're now on I would say, a better level playing field. And so that if St. Kitts takes a decision to turn away a ship, I hope with the minimum standards that we have developed, likewise Jamaica would have done it. Because you would have heard people in St. Kitts and even saying, well, how can we allow a ship to come to St. Kitts when, let's say, St. Lucia turned it away? I think that will be minimized now because we'll be all on the same playing field. Except that at the end of the day, we can take a different decision. Although we have the same minimum standards, we can take a different decision because we are a sovereign nation and the health, well-being and safety of our nationals come first. Now it's right in our backyard in St. Martin. That again puts us more on alert because our citizens interact daily with nationals in St. Martin. Lots of us have family there. And so that again is a more heightened position for us to make sure we keep this disease at bay. I would say that all is not lost because we've had many different diseases over the number of years. I, however, appreciate the fact that there seems to be a serious awareness in St. Kitts and Nevis. Everybody is speaking about it, which is good. Everybody is in tune to it, which is good. But some people may be getting the wrong message, which is bad. I hope that from today, we can channel all our energies in the correct direction. This is not a disease about ethnicity. This is a disease that goes right across the board. This is a disease of whether you're fat, you're skinny, you're susceptible to it. And so we have to treat it with that kind of respect that it deserves. I would like to say the Ministry of Health has been putting out a number of press releases, and they're hosting a press conference today. Very, very important, because knowledge and information is key and is strength. And so we have to be our brother's keeper in that regard. I'm hoping that we get it under control on a global basis quickly, because as you could appreciate, it's taking a toll on the economies of the world. And when America sneezes, we catch a cold. And you could see what it's doing to the stock market at the moment. So we're working vigilantly to make sure that in St. Kitts and Nevis we play our part, and we make sure that we do what we need to do. We make sure that we maintain the minimum standards that we need to, and we make sure that we need to be vigilant in what we do. From the tourism point of view, we have been in collaboration with the FCCA, we have been in collaboration with cruise lines, and if we have to take a measure to not allow ships to come to St. Kitts, that is what we have to do. Because it is better to lose several thousands of dollars rather than having our people affected by this disease. We are a very small and close-knit community, and if it gets here, we all interact with one another, and so it will be much more difficult for us under those circumstances. So with those few words, as I said, I would be brief. I leave the podium. Thank you.